So there's another tool that I love to use with my clients, and I just did this for myself because it's good at any point in time, but it might change between today and tomorrow. And that is called the Life Satisfaction Assessment. Because how do you decide what's important unless you know what you value in your life and how satisfied you are with that? So the first step is to look at all the items on the bottom and place a mark, maybe it's a V, for how much you value that. So you're going to do a V, and then you're going to make a mountain range connecting all your V's, and then you're going to make another mark, maybe an S for satisfaction. How satisfied are you with that element right now? So if sleep's really important, maybe it's a 10, but you're only getting 5 hours, so you want to rate it a 6 because you're really not satisfied with it, for an example. All right, so go ahead and do that, and then I'll give you further instructions. Notice that I said it's not just that it's a gap. You have to be ready to take it on. I mean, for years, I would listen to Tony Robbins, The Ultimate Edge, and I would literally skip the section on relationships. I was not ready. I was in a marriage that was not working. We were not talking about it, and I had so much fear and shame, and I was not ready to take that on. And then I finally listened to the program, like, oh, I could have listened to that. That was fine. It was Tony Robbins. It's brilliant. So I would never tell somebody, no, you have to work on this. Now, if your sleep is really poor, I usually tell people, let's address that first. Now, Paul was saying, yeah, I don't sleep much, but I'm fine. I haven't had any health consequences from it. So maybe he's one of those rare people that doesn't need much. There's about 5% of the population that can get by with less than 5 hours. But that's one that I always just say, you know what, everything's easier if you're sleeping, so let's focus on that. But you may have one that you see a gap and you're just like, no, I'd rather focus on this one right now. I'm ready to take on this one, but not this one. There's no judgment here. Only judgment is in your head. Anybody have something that was a higher satisfaction than value? Several. Guess what? You're saying yes a little too much there. Right? You can afford to back off on those. I mean, I used to always think that everybody would have higher value than satisfaction, but then I found people pleasers, people who call themselves people pleasers, often have higher scores in service to others, higher satisfaction scores than value scores, and they realize, oh, I'm taking care of everybody else, but I'm not taking care of myself. What I want you to go do right now is go back to that should list that you made, that awful should list on page 2. Okay, everybody see it on their should list, perhaps? All right, if it's on your should list, I want you to circle that one, and then I want you to cross out everything else on that should list. You can draw daggers around it, arrows through it, whatever feels good to you. Now, I'm not saying that you're never going to do those things. I'm just saying not right now. For now, you can say no to those things, and we're going to put your attention on this other thing that we're going to upgrade from a very weak should do to a very strong must do. Shoulds do not get done. Must do's get done. For me, I had on my list for so long, I should write a book. It was on my list forever, and I was feeling really guilty about it. But I was really sick. I was getting a divorce. I was sick with mold poisoning and Lyme disease. I needed to find my daughter and I a safe place to live. I needed to manage my health. I need to manage my work. So I demoted it. I said, this isn't the right time. And then a couple years ago, it felt like the right time, and I had to figure it out. So I'm going to give you permission to drop the guilt, drop the shoulds, and upgrade this one thing to a must. All right, I want to go back to your life satisfaction list and the should list and that one thing you decided to upgrade to a must. You don't need to tell us what it is. You can if you want. But has anybody ever left a class or read a book, set a goal for themselves, been really excited about it, and then not done it anyways? That means you're human, right? Right, we do that all the time. We do that all the time. We set a goal, and then we fail to achieve it, and then we feel guilty. All right, so here's the number one reason why we fail to accomplish our goals. We make them too big. Remember, your brain does not want you to change, even if that change makes you a healthier, nicer, happier person. Your brain is saying, just stay how you are. Stay in the cave. Don't go out. It's dangerous out there. Don't put those running shoes on. You might get hit by a car. So we have to chunk it down into a tiny baby step. It does not mean that you cannot have big, audacious goals. Sure, go for it. But let's say you have a goal of you want to run a marathon. And right now, you don't even have a walking habit. What is a tiny baby step you could take that your brain wouldn't even notice toward that goal of running a marathon?
Walk around the block.
You could walk around the block. Is that
2 times a week.
okay? Does that feel reasonable to you? Okay, for somebody else, that might be too much. The way you know if it's too much is if you don't do it. You know, if Friday rolls around and you have not walked around the block twice, you know, okay, I need to start smaller. Maybe I didn't have the right shoes. Maybe I'll just go buy some shoes.
Flip-flops don't work?
No. Well, maybe the flip-flops worked, but then it was uncomfortable, so you didn't do the second walk. So we got to think small. So I want you to look at your must-do from your life satisfaction list. And I want you to identify one tiny, pathetic, little baby step that you could take toward achieving that goal.